probably no other company has been spoken about more in our day-to-day lives in this generation more than Netflix. Whether it's about you talk to your friends, whether you talk to your colleagues, whether you talk to parents, whether you take the lockdown, whether before the lockdown, it had become an almost daily part of our lives. And today we're going to talk about the rise of Netflix and how a $40 late fee revolutionized television and brought Netflix as we know it today. So, first thing about Netflix, which a lot of you would not know, is back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I mean from 1985 till somewhere in 2000s, the mid 2000s, the Netflix of that day, the company's name was Blockbuster. Now, we might not know it because I don't think it was really, I don't even know if it was there in India, but even if it was there, it wasn't popular for sure. But in the US, Blockbuster was a mega company which was your go-to sort of place for movies. So what Netflix is today to us, Blockbuster. But Blockbuster was physical. So it was a chain, right, of a store. Now I would enter that store and it was like a pile of movies stacked up like a library with books, but instead it's movies. Whether it's in the form of those video cassettes which used to come, the big ones, and maybe then DVDs, CDs and DVDs. But the experience of the customer was so fun. So imagine a family, right, on a Friday, they go to Blockbuster. Kids are all excited, parents also a little excited because it's a nice thing to go rent out a movie. They go to the new releases section. They get excited when they see a movie which is coming out new. They'll keep an eye out for, I think that I'm going to watch it next week. And it became such a nice experience to just browse through the entire store. In fact, Blockbuster started putting popcorn. They started selling popcorn so that people would rent a movie for the weekend, buy popcorn as well, and then move out. So that's what used to happen before something like Netflix here. People would have to go rent out movies and come home and watch it. Now, this is what was happening in Blockbuster. That time, the founder and CEO, Reed Hastings, right? He also had taken a movie on rent, but unfortunately, what happened is he was late in returning it. And Blockbuster would do this. So, for example, if you rent a movie for a week, they would charge you for a week. If you don't return it within a week, each day they would keep charging a late fee. So Reed hated that, right? $40 late fee. He got really frustrated apparently, and it sort of somewhere conceptualized Netflix. Now, when he started Netflix, he started in 1997. Blockbuster started in 1985. Was dominating. In 97, Reed Hastings started Netflix, but Netflix was not the Netflix you know today. It used to be mail-ordered DVDs. So I would go on the Netflix website, I would see the movies they have, I would choose the movie I want, and the DVD would be delivered to my house. That is the business model that Netflix started with. After that, so if I would order a DVD for 1 week, I would pay it for 1 week and then I would return it. And then Netflix started a subscription model where they said, you know what, if I'm a user, I pay only one amount a month, right? And I call for any DVD, it'll come. When I want another DVD, I have to return the first DVD and I'll get any amount of DVDs that I can get as long as I'm paying the subscription fee. So this was the model that Netflix went with. But it was still not doing that great. Blockbuster was still the king. In fact, it was listed on the New York Stock Exchange. I think its revenues were in $6 to $8 billion per year, and only from the late fees, right, which people were always late as usual. They were making $800 million per year in only late fees, and frustrated the hell out of a lot of people. Now, to ensure that Netflix survives, the CEO and founder of Netflix, Reed Hastings, went to Blockbuster to try and see there's some partnership available, right? He just needed to partner with the biggest fish in the sea, and he was hoping at some point that they would buy Netflix out. Blockbuster had the chance to buy Netflix, and the CEO and the rest of the board of directors rejected it, laughed at Reed Hastings, and it was sort of their first step to their own company's demise. They did not land up buying it. I think they could have bought it for $50 million, Netflix, and they said no. 50 million. Today, Netflix is over 110, 115 billion dollars in market cap, and Blockbuster is no more. So that was sort of their first step. What essentially happened is it's called a very it's a classic innovator's dilemma. What innovator's dilemma means is Blockbuster was doing fantastically for its own for its brand. At that time, when online was not as clear as obviously it is today, Blockbuster was thinking, why should we change our existing working profitable business model and risk it on something which is online, which may or may not happen. If it happens, we'll switch to it because it won't take over what we have, which is doing so well, drastically. Lot of companies do that. They feel what is working is perfect. They know they can't see probably beyond the horizon what else is going to be coming up. They can't adapt quickly and they fail. Kodak, one of the biggest companies back in the day, global company, Kodak, for those, the camera company. It used to do the normal cameras with the films and all. It failed to adapt to digital cameras quickly enough, and one of the most popular companies in the world had failed. Similarly for Blockbuster. So that sort of is the reason why Blockbuster could not, it also, Blockbuster did go online, but by the time it shifted to online, Netflix had sort of taken over the US market and then eventually the world. So that sort of led to the downfall of Blockbuster and started the rise of Netflix. Now, what did Netflix do correctly? It can't just have thought of, let us put a lot of content. Because if you remember, before Netflix, all those who used to download movies, you would either go and get it through torrents, most likely, which was piracy. So what did Netflix do? Right? Netflix knew that people were not going to pay because torrents were free. You could find almost anything on torrents. But Netflix did a couple of things correct, right? So I'm going to tell you 5 things that Netflix did correctly. Number 1, to tackle piracy, it said, look, people do land up going and buying, downloading through torrents, but there are certain issues, right? Sometimes the quality is not that good. Sometimes you land up downloading the wrong file or the wrong movie, for example, that you wanted. Could be subtitles, could be language, could be many problems were there with downloading torrents. So Netflix said, okay, if I put everything in one place, right, it's going to be easy for customer to come and find whatever they want here, rather than downloading torrents, hoping that it's the right file and then being happy or sad about it. Part 1. Part 2, the costing. Netflix came up with a subscription model where they said, I'm sure if somebody to rent out a DVD back, okay, would let's say cost, I'm just giving hypothetical numbers, let's say it costs 400-500, let's say it costs 300 rupees for a week to rent a DVD. That used to be the case, right? 200-300 rupees. Like if people can do that, I'm sure they can spend 500 rupees and get unlimited content for a month. So when they make the pricing structure, they did it so well that people like you and me felt absolutely no pain in paying because what we were getting in return was astronomically more. That was the second part, costing. Third, they gave unlimited content basically, right? Earlier, whether it's Blockbuster or whether it was ordering on Netflix, I had to choose one at a time. I couldn't just start a movie, see a few minutes, shut it and see the next one. My mood changed, I couldn't switch. I had to watch what was given to me. Netflix changed that. Fourth, time. I did not have to wait for a weekend for a specific time that okay, if it's going to come on TV, I'm going to watch it at 10 o'clock, or if I'm going to watch it, a rented DVD, I'll watch it with everybody. You have to wait. There's nothing. Time became no barrier. And the last thing that they did, the fifth thing, is the recommendations. And this changed the game for Netflix. It told us that look, come on Netflix, start whatever you want. Once you're done, you don't have to worry, right? We can give you so many options, which most likely you would like because of the way the algorithms are, the way they've studied the profile, the amount of data that they have. We would most likely be clicking on the recommended movies. And that made it so easy for Netflix to continue keeping us on their platform, getting us more engaged, and more importantly, getting us used to Netflix, addicted to Netflix. The term binging came because of Netflix. So that is what Netflix did correctly, and that is how Netflix today is the giant that it is, one of the most valued companies in the world, one of the most common companies in the world, and a company which was at its peak, another Netflix. How Netflix was supposed to be acquired, did not get acquired. Again, by the way, guys, another similar analogy. Google was supposed to be acquired by Yahoo back in the day, but Yahoo refused, or rather Google must have said no because of some price issue. And then you saw Google overtook Yahoo. Same way Netflix overtook Blockbuster. Blockbuster today is bankrupt, it's no more. So that's sort of the rise of Netflix. One quick fun fact for you, I'll give you all two. First, India, right, you might think either Netflix or maybe Prime or even Hotstar would have the highest number of subscribers. No. It is a channel called Z5. I don't know if you'll have heard of it, but if any of you all have, great. Otherwise, if you have Fire Stick, it's right there. So that's one fact. Second, I saw an interview of Reed Hastings one. Now, I don't know if he was joking or not, but it was pretty amazing to think of how he functions, right? He says he gives his team a lot of freedom to work the way they want. So, he gave an example, or rather the interviewer gave an example, so that Reed Hastings one day woke up, he saw the newspaper and he read, Netflix entered China. The founder or the CEO of Netflix apparently has given so much freedom that he reads that his company has entered one of the largest countries in the world globally by reading a newspaper in the morning like any other user. So if this is true, hats off to the way he actually functions, because it's working. It's made the company what it is. And yep, I hope that this entire segment about Netflix appeals to you. If you like these kind of videos, please do let us know if we should make any other case study. And thank you. Please subscribe to this channel.